allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of Bowling Green City Council. We're thankful for all our visitors this evening. Happy that you're here. As always, it's always good to see our school superintendent and board president. Thanks for being here. Kay, would you please call a roll?
Osbacher.
Here.
Harold.
Here.
Hollenbaugh.
Here.
Jeffers.
Here.
Robinette.
Here.
Roland. Here. Zanfordino.
Here.
The minutes for the meeting that was held on January 22nd, 2019 were submitted to council prior to this meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to these minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. The minutes are approved as presented. Okay, is there correspondence this evening?
Yes. Received from Finance Director Brian Bouchon and distributed to you prior to the meeting was a listing of budget transfers to be made for this month, and those require your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the budget transfers?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. The budget transfers are also approved as presented.
That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you, Kay. Mr. Mayor, do we have any special recognitions? Great. We're looking forward to that. Kay, next on our agenda is lobby visitation. Has anyone signed up to address council this evening?
Yes, we have two people, and I asked him how to pronounce his last name, and I forget already, but it's Stanley Abramczyk.
Mr. Abramczyk, would you please approach the microphone and clearly state your name and address for the record?
My name is Stanley Abramczyk. My address is P.O. Box 85, Rudolph, Ohio.
Thank you.
I'm having an issue with the Bowling Green Police Department. Back in September, I got into a little fender bender where a lady backed into me, and the officer that came out wrote the report incorrectly, and the insurance company was giving me a fit over it. So I ended up having to take them to court, and the officer that wrote the report was also in court, and he perjured himself. I actually have some video of our interaction, and he lied in court. My other problem with this is I actually wrote a complaint for this officer, the way he wrote the report. I'm sorry, I have anxiety. I'm pretty nervous standing in front of everybody. But anyhow, I sent this, I wrote this out on October 10th of last year and took it over to the BG Police Department and turned it into one of his superiors. I asked that I be notified in writing back because I didn't want to go through he said, she said. I would prefer it in writing because I already went through some he said, she said on the phone with the officer that I'm talking about. So I need to somehow figure out what we can do to fix this problem. Again, he lied in court, and it's Patrolman C. Rowley, R-O-L-E-Y, is the officer I'm talking about. I was also involved in another accident back on January 10th. I got rear-ended. The lady took off after hitting me. I got pictures of her, and I was afraid to call the police department because of the things that Patrolman Rowley told me. One of the things he told me is when an accident happens on private property, he doesn't have to come out and take a statement, doesn't have to come out and do anything, that I was lucky that he even came out. That was a conversation we had on the phone. So after that is when I wrote this, and if anybody wants to read this, I'm more than happy. I didn't bring copies, I apologize, but I'm more than happy to pass this along to you guys. So right now,
excuse me, Mr. Ambercheck, and Mr. Osbacher, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with, in a public meeting, that you're accusing our police officers of perjury.
I have video.
There may be evidence, you may be right. I'm not sure this is the venue to to deal with that. I'm not sorry that you bring it to our attention.
Point me in
but
the right direction, because I'm not going to go back to the Bowling Green Police Department when his superiors wouldn't even contact me after I already filed a complaint and asked to get back with me in writing, and I haven't received anything. So where's my next step? Who do I go to?
Sir, your next step would be to bring the matter to the attention of our municipal administrator, Lori Treader, who is here this evening.
Who is it?
Lori Treader, the municipal administrator.
Did you say Lori?
Lori Treader.
Your left.
Lori, in her capacity as the municipal administrator, also serves as the safety director.
Okay.
So she would be the person that you would lodge your concerns with.
Okay.
That would be the appropriate venue. City council does not have jurisdiction over these matters.
That's fine. I just didn't know where to go, and this
Sure.
was where I thought I should come.
Thanks for coming this evening.
So I just make an appointment with her.
That would be the thing to do. Call
All right.
Lori's office, and she'd be happy to meet with you and discuss your concerns.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Next is Wendy Chambers.
Wendy Chambers, I'm the director of the Convention and Visitors Bureau, as well as on the committee for Winterfest BG Celebration. I'm here tonight to invite everybody to the coolest weekend of the year. It is this weekend. We will start out on Friday night with the Chocolate Crawl, which I might add is completely sold out at 500 tickets, and all the proceeds will be benefiting the United Way. So we're extremely excited about that. And then we go into a ton of activity that is going in on Saturday. We will start in the morning with our winter market, which will be at the Frozen Swamp Tent, which is on the corner of South Main and Clough Street. We will also be having demonstrations of ice carvings in the Ice Garden, which downtown BG, Tony Vetter, has done a wonderful job of selling our sculptures this year. Our demonstrations, though, are themed Winter Athletes in Ice, and that is because we have 2 Olympians coming this year. Scott Hamilton is coming out for the SK8 cancer fundraiser that's going to be out at Slater Family Ice Arena. There's all kinds of activities going out there. He will be having an exhibition at 4 o'clock, but we are going to be sculpting him doing a flip, so we're really excited about that. Tyler George, another Olympian, is coming to the BG Curling Center. He is a Olympian curler, and he will be in action also in an ice carving. We're going to do a Falcon hockey player because they're having such a wonderful season this year, and we are really a winter-themed town. And on top of that, Julie's Dance Studio is going to have a Snow Queen ballerina come to the event. She's actually going to be a live model for us, and those will be the four demonstrations from 10 to 2. Then we flip over at 4 o'clock to the Frozen Swamp Tent again, where we're going to have entertainment, live music, food, and lots of fun, beer, spirits, wine. And this year, our band lineup is Ginger and the Snaps. We have the James Atkins Trio. We have Indegrass and Amp Wagon, but we're really excited to have Oliver Hazard this year. They're an up-and-coming group out of Waterville. They're already, you can download music off of iTunes, and they've even opened for the band Perry. So we're pretty excited to have such a talent coming this year. Also at Parks and Recreation, I know Kristen's not here, so I will speak on her behalf, but we've got the Frozen Fun Run going on that morning at 11 o'clock, and there may still be room for runners in that particular activity. The Chili Cook-Off follows with our women's clubs that raise money for scholarships, so you can come out and taste chili, and well as bring your family, because there will be cookie creations right across at the Girl Scout building, and keep the kids busy while you're tasting chili. So lots of things going on. Carriage rides will be from 4 to 6 in the downtown out of the courtyard. The city schools has done all of our artwork downtown. The elementaries, Noreen Overholt, has done a beautiful job of decorating our windows downtown. In fact, we got WTOL coming to visit Noreen on bright and early on Friday morning to be on live TV. And also the gallery is hosting the high school's artwork. So we're pretty excited about all of the things. I don't know if I remembered everything, but we do have some flyers on the table over here, as well as some extra posters if you'd like to take some and hang out. But invite your family, invite your friends. and join me for the coolest weekend of the year this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
That's all we have.
Thank you. Moving on to the introduction of new legislation, please.
Mr. President,
Mr. Jeffers.
from the Finance Committee, I have an ordinance providing supplemental appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Bowling Green, Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2019 and ending December 31, 2019.
Thank you, Bruce. Official reports. Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of council, and all assembled. I really don't have a report for you this evening, but I would like to just mention one fact, because yesterday a number of us gathered at the Ice Arena lounge to honor a person that was something of a fixture in these chambers, and I'm referring to Gene Romans. And it was a great occasion, a wonderful occasion, a lot of good thoughts, and a lot of folks came back far and wide, and just to celebrate Jean's life. And she was a very special person for many of us, and knew her for a long time, and as well as her husband, Dr. Bob Romans, who worked very closely with in a number of things as well. But and there were, as you would expect, there were some hockey players that came from far and wide to be there as part of the tribute there. But for those of you who may not have remembered Jean Romans, but she sat right here in the first row. She typically would come in with two ski walking sticks type, or cross-country ski sticks, and start taking her notes. And she never missed a beat. And you always knew where she stood. So but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Other questions for Mayor Edwards?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Municipal Administrator, Ms. Treader.
Good evening again. Thank you, Wendy, for that very comprehensive rundown of the Chillabration. I didn't have that many details, so I'm glad that she got up to provide them all to you. But the city will be providing some support services in conjunction with the Chillabration. And a reminder, you hopefully saw in your e-news that comes out weekly, that Clough Street will be closed for a good portion of Saturday. That's between Main and the entrance to Lot 2 there. So almost a Prospect, but you'll be able to still get into City Lot 2 there. And another reminder that the State of the City address will be delivered by our Mayor Edwards on February 19th. It's over here at the Public Library. Doors open at 7:30 a.m. and he will begin speaking at 8 a.m. And we hope that you can join us for that morning. My understanding is, Mayor, you've invited President Rogers to be your special guest along with your speech. So we'll hope to see many of you there. That completes my report, subject to your questions.
Questions for Ms. Treader? Thank you. Planning Director, Ms. Saylor.
Good evening. I just wanted to give you a brief snapshot of the planning department activities in 2018. I won't read through this, of course, because you can do that yourself quite aptly. We do have a total permits, or you can see what's residential, industrial, commercial, and what types of permits. We have a zoning board of appeals, a summary of what their actions have been. Planning commission also, code enforcement, their annual totals on their actions. We also have the amount of new resident newsletters sent. I also gave you a copy of the new resident newsletter, so you can see that we do update that annually, so it's current information, of course. Also, what we do with new addresses, assigning those. The community action plan, gave you a rundown of that, so you can kind of look back at all the activities that involved. We also have implementation, some of the summary of the implementation that we've done so far. Also put in there the development strategies process, and that we're nearing the end of that. Also gave you a snapshot of the downtown permits that we assist with handling those, A-frame signs, outdoor dining, etc. Also gave you a report about the Wood County Health District, the complaints and the letters that they do send. And then I gave you a little bit of detail because I thought you'd have some interest in the types of industrial, commercial, and institutional buildings that we've issued permits for. And that's it with the report. But if you have any questions after you look through that, please contact me and feel free. Also wanted to let you know we're working on the Historic Preservation Commission, getting those folks together. It's always fun trying to get people together for the first time and have our schedules align. but I will let you know when that meeting happens because I think some of you would be interested in attending if you can. And then Interfaith Breakfast, we're deep in planning with that. I already gave you the date, April 2nd. We are going to be looking for sponsors next. We do have some significant costs this year. So if you know of anybody, perhaps yourselves or others, that would like to donate, please let me know. Again, we have some costs this year that we'd like to, of course, cover and keep the breakfast free. So any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Other questions for Ms. Saylor? Heather, thank you very much. Parks and Recreation Director, Ms. Otley, not here. Thank you. City Attorney, Mr. Marsh. Questions for Mr. Marsh? Thank you. Utilities Director, Mr. O'Connell. Questions for Brian? Thank you. Public Works Director, Mr. Kraft. Questions for Mr. Kraft? Thank you. That concludes our official reports. Do we have any council committee reports this evening?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Zanfordino.
This evening, we had a meeting of the council's Transportation and Safety Committee and the Bicycle Safety Commission at 6 o'clock this evening. I think we had a good meeting. We were working off a report that the Bicycle Safety Commission generated late in 2018, looking at our bicycle infrastructure and possible roads to treat with shallows and things like that. So I think it was a very good meeting, and we have next steps to complete going forward.
Great.
Thank you.
John, like others, I would like to commend the work of the commission. The information that was presented to your committee during your joint meeting prior to this meeting was really impressive.
It was an excellent report.
So thank those commission members for their work, and also, John, thank you for your work coordinating the work of the two groups. It seems like we're moving in a positive direction on that, and I look forward to seeing future progress on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John, if I might comment there, I thought it was a great meeting. I really enjoyed it and felt like it pulled some ideas together very nicely. One thing is just like what the planning department does, this kind of planning just takes a long time, and it's taken me several years to kind of accept that. And, you know, we're really planning, a lot of it's for the distant future, and a lot of it is because we're dealing with a city that already exists and streets that have a certain width and we're not necessarily designed for bike lanes. And so it's hard stuff, and we're doing the best we can. I think you're trying to mesh the desires of the Bicycle Safety Commission for certain routes, and then Brian Kraft has to deal with a budget and when he can pave streets, and to try to put all that together is tough. And so I understand that we're going to look at South Main and from Gypsy Lane to Napoleon. That seems like that's good. I continue to have a concern there. It's the same concern I mentioned a few months ago about Court Street. It's a path from where to where, and then when you get to the end of that path, what are you dumped onto? I like that Greg has brought up again the idea of going to the community center to, say, the fairgrounds or the high school, because those are places when you end that trip, you're at a place. At the end of Court Street, you're just kind of on Prospect, and suddenly you have to go from sort of the relative safety of a bike lane just to back into mixing with traffic. So that's a concern for me. I have a little bit of the same concern on Napoleon and Gypsy Lane, but so just, you know, my comments on that.
Sure. At the end of Court Street, though, you're right at a cookie shop, Bruce.
You should stop.
Thank you, Bruce.
I don't have a report, but I have a reminder that prior to the February 19th council meeting at 6 o'clock, there will be a meeting of the Community Improvement Committee to discuss plastic bags, grocery bags.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mark. Are there additional council committee reports? Thank you for those reports. Kay, let's move on to the reading of legislation, please.
Legislation for first reading Ordinance number 8748 for first reading. Ordinance providing supplemental appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2019 and ending December 31, 2019.
Mr. President,
Mr. Jeffers.
I move that we suspend the rules and give ordinance 8748 its second and third readings.
It's been moved and seconded. Kay, would you please call the roll?
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher.
Yes. The motion passes. The rules are suspended for ordinance 8748.
Ordinance number 8748 for second and third reading. Ordinance providing supplemental appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2019 and ending December 31, 2019.
Mr. President,
Mr. Jeffers.
I move we adopt ordinance 8748.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Kay, would you please call the roll?
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher,
Yes.
Harold.
Yes.
The motion passes. Ordinance 8748 is adopted.
Legislation for second reading. Resolution number 3726 for second reading. Resolution authorizing the mayor of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio to file an application and execute a contract upon grant application approval under the Community Development Block Grant Entitlement Program as authorized by Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended. Ordinance number 8742 for second reading. Ordinance authorizing an agreement between the City of Bowling Green, Ohio and the Wood County Regional Airport Authority. Ordinance number 8743 for second reading. Ordinance authorizing the municipal administrator and the utilities director to advertise for bids and enter into a contract or contracts and/or participate in state of Ohio or federal purchasing programs for the purchase of vehicles, equipment, and completion of projects, as well as the trade-in or outright sale of vehicles and equipment no longer needed for municipal purposes. Ordinance number 8744 for second reading. Ordinance authorizing the municipal administrator and the utilities director to enter into a contract or contracts with specified vendors for work that may exceed $50,000 annually for calendar year 2019. Ordinance number 8745 for second reading. Ordinance authorizing the municipal administrator to advertise for bids and enter into a contract or contracts for sidewalk improvements, pavement striping, de-icing salt, and improving streets, alleys, and other public ways in the City of Bowling Green, Ohio. Ordinance number 8746 for second reading. Ordinance authorizing the utilities director to execute an agreement with Core Pro for the installation and repair of the cathodic protection systems. Ordinance number 8747 for second reading. Ordinance authorizing the utilities director to advertise for bids and enter into a contract or contracts for the installation of electric and communication conduits at the I-75 and East Wooster Street roundabout project. And there is no legislation for third reading.
Thank you, Kay. That completes the items on our agenda. Is there any other business to come before council?
Just a reminder, Councilmember President, that there's she requested an executive session after
Yes.
this meeting.
Thank you, Kate. In preparation for this meeting, Ms. Treader had asked that council consider adjourning to executive session in order to discuss a real estate matter. So at this time, I would request a motion and a second to adjourn to executive session.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. We are now adjourned to executive session, and we will not be taking any action as a result of this executive session. So thank you all very much. We appreciate your attendance this evening.